In this video, I want to show you a special workflow technique which will help you to brainstorm leads even faster. So why is this so important? Because our brain is a pattern recognition machine. So I'm reading through this book here about how to achieve the impossible, and it goes a lot about how our brain actually works and how we can work so that our brain works in favor for us. And one thing he mentions is if you solve like a word in a crossword puzzle, then your brain rewards you with dopamine, and this dopamine helps you to get concentrated and solve even more words there. And the same applies to music. So whenever we find a pattern like a cool melody, a cool rhythm, then our brain will reward us. We get some dopamine and we're getting actually better and more concentrated on our task at bringing more cool rhythms and melodies. But now comes the catch. Sometimes we go into sound selection hell. So we may have even a cool idea for a melody, and then we are looking through 50, 100 presets until we find a preset which really suits our melody, and by then all the power in our brain is already gone. So we get kind of like lost on that. I don't know if you got this, but I got this, that you then like get like a click monkey and you click through all these presets, and I think it's not a really good way to get into a creative flow, into a jamming state. Instead, we want to get into flow state, and whenever we get this little dopamine rewards, our brain will trigger the flow state. Flow state is basically if you totally get immersed into something, you forget time, you look at your clock, and then it's like 1 hour later and you got really productive because you got super tight focused on one task. And that's what we want, and that's what this workflow technique is about. So the idea is very simple and basic. So all you need to do is you prepare your standard stuff, what you need for mixing in your track. So I have this anyways in my default track, and then you bring a VST and you just copy it across. So I have like a vital here, and then I copy it like 4 times, for example. And once you have 4 vitals, I actually did the same already here with like serum and pigments and all the synthesizers I have, especially the ones I have banks. So that's really important that you always need a bank for that. If you don't have a bank, then you need to make your own one, or you need to buy one, but you need a bank for this, or some presets you can select from. If you enjoyed this video so far, then please leave a thumbs up. That helps me to spread this video and also shows me that this video is valuable to you. So once we go through this, we just arm the track here, and then it becomes very easy. If you have a MIDI controller, it's very helpful because then you can kind of like try different octaves of the preset. And as I want to create more rhythmic leads and not melodic leads, but more like kind of like FX or FM type kind of leads, I will just like have one key pressed and I will look through my presets to find some nice ones. So maybe we go for sequence presets and let's check. So we just start on top. So there's not a real preference. Sometimes it's really cool if you go by author, because some authors may have more of one category. So for example, like all the Lunatica presets are really cool, I think, for the FM part, or I have the burn and noise I like for the leads a lot, so for the melodic ones. So that's something you can also kind of like do, but it's okay if you go from the top. Once I found something which catches my interest, I will play with kick and bass. So that easy, it's actually done. I mean, the thing is, because you don't have a melody and rhythm, you are way more open to your selection, and the part of the rhythm melody comes later. Believe me, it really flows once you get into that state of like creating a lot of leads and melodies. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, then please subscribe to this channel and hit the bell notification icon, or maybe you're already subscribed and you haven't hit the bell notification icon. That's really important because without it, you will miss the future tutorials which make you a better producer. And then we just move on to the next one. You might be arguing we're also clicking through a lot of presets, but it's way easier than if you're trying to find like a lid which exactly fits on the pot. So let's move on. Sometimes you find stuff like this, which might not be the category you wanted to select, but I still keep this then. So for example, I would then say, okay, this is maybe not a rhythmic, so I color code my stuff, like green is like melodic and this is more rhythmic leads. I still move on and just take the next one. Also, don't forget to try different octaves. I'm a bit fast here now, but you can of course go a little bit deeper into it. So actually that fast you go through it, and we haven't spent much time on it, but that's basically the concept. And once you have enough here, then you start jamming. And this, for example, like this lead I just created, it took me maybe like 10-15 minutes to do that. By having this selection before, I really kind of like make my brain free to move forward and really create done leads, which I think is very nice. So for example, like if I just have this now, I can just go and flow with the preset. I can basically listen to what the preset could be working with, and then I do. One little notice I didn't do here, but you can even kind of like do the mixing already a bit here. Then you can flow even faster when you're creating the leads and you're not like busy with that as well. So let's create a lead now. So let's check this here, how this one sounds. And there we go. And then we take the next one and we create the next one. As we are rhythmic leads, we don't need to think a lot about melodic notes and stuff. So we can try, of course, sometimes it's still cool, but just saying, like, that's the principle. But nevertheless, even in rhythmic leads, you can have multiple octaves, just saying. And that easy you flow because you don't really need to select all that stuff. I know that technique sounds super cheap and easy, but it's like that. It's super easy and it's super helpful because if you do that, I think you will really speed up your workflow a lot. Also, you don't have to go one workflow all the time. So maybe you say, okay, that's a little bit too much like industrial for me, like in a factory. So I'm producing this and then making this and making this. It takes all the fun and autonomy out of it. Yeah, then just go other way, and the next time you really feel that you could do something and you want to be fast, and maybe then this technique is the right one for this time. So with every workflow thing, it needs to fit to you. It needs to fit to the day you're producing and to the mood you have. But I think that's another tool in your belt which you can use to really move fast forward and create ideas for your track. If you want to know how to make good rhythms, then you can watch this video next.